everyone, how's it going? I'm C Games. I hope you're having an amazing day. In this video, I'm going to start a first part of my series where I will analyse the English literature and language joint A-level. I know it's typically different and very drastic from being a gaming channel, but I do want to one thing that's always been a point of my channel is to be a source of inspiration and information, and I'm going to be doing that with this A-level and hopefully inspire you guys to succeed with it should you be doing it like I am myself. Anyways, with that said and out the way, let's get started. We're going to do Carol Ann Duffy's poem called Nostalgia. Those early mercenaries, it made them ill, leaving the mountains, leaving the high fine air to go down. What they got was money, dull, crude coins clenched in the teeth, strange food, the wrong taste, stones in the belly, and the wrong sounds, the wrong smells, the wrong light, every breath wrong. They had an ache here, doctor, they pined, wept, grown men, it was killing them. It was given a name, hearing tell of it. There were those who stayed put, fearful of a sweet pain in the heart, of how it hurt, in that heavier air to hear, in the music of home, the sad pipes, summoning in the dwindling light of the plains, a particular place where maybe you met a girl, or searched for a yellow ball in long grass, found it just as your mother called you in, but the word was out. Some would never fall in love, had they not heard of love, so the priest stood at the still, with his head in his hands, crying at the workings of memory through the colour of leaves, and the school teacher opened a book to the scent of her youth. Too late, it was spring when one returned with his life in a sack on his back, to find the same street, with the same sign on the inn, the same bell chiming the hour on the clock, and everything changed. Alright ladies and gents, so that was Nostalgia by Carol Ann Duffy. Let's break down what's actually going on here, because on first read it can feel a bit distant or strange. Basically, this poem is about the first Swiss mercenaries who left home and discovered a kind of pain they didn't even have a word for yet. It's that feeling of missing a time or place so deeply that it almost physically hurts, and that's what we would call nostalgia in today's society. Here's a summary of the story. These soldiers leave their home in the mountains to fight abroad. The second they're away, everything feels wrong. The sounds, the smells, the light, and we see how strong the pull of home is. They travel across Europe, they hear church bells, they see new landscapes, but none of it fills the gap. And even when some of them eventually go back home, it's not the same anymore. That's the painful truth Duffy gets at. You can't go back to how things were, even if you were to return. Now please allow me to do a elaboration of the language techniques within this poem. One of the strongest lines in the poem is the repetition, the wrong sounds, the wrong smells, the wrong light. Duffy hammering that word wrong over and over shows how everything away from home feels off, uncomfortable, unfamiliar. It doesn't matter how good or new the world is, it still is not home. And that links directly to the title of this poem, Nostalgia, because nostalgia makes everything else feel like a weaker, distorted version of what you used to have. Duffy conveys nostalgia as an illness and sickness. This is due to the fact back in the 17th century when this takes place, homesickness was taken seriously. Soldiers could be sent home because of it. In the poem, this feeling took hold of them, like it's something physical. It shows how memory can mess with you emotionally in a way that feels like actual pain. Let's dive into another technique. The modal auxiliary verb maybe. On line 16 in the second stanza, we get this line where maybe you met a girl. The modal auxiliary verb maybe suggests possibility, but not certainty. And that is exactly the point, ladies and gents. Nostalgia is built on vague memories. We might think it happened. It's not about truth. It's about idealizing the past. Duffy's showing that nostalgia is something people put faith in. even when the reality was probably a messier or less perfect. A final key idea is that you can never fully return to the past. When the mercenaries finally go home, the place is still familiar, but it's changed, or they've changed. Nostalgia tricks us into thinking the past was perfect, but when we try to relive it, the reality doesn't match the memory. That gap between memory and reality is what makes nostalgia painful. Here's some context. This poem is based on real history. Swiss mercenaries in the 17th century were actually diagnosed with nostalgia. I'm not even joking on that. Doctors thought it was a literal illness caused by being far from home. Duffy takes that history and uses it to explore the universal emotion we would all feel today as a result of nostalgia. Why does the poem matter? Honestly, there's your answer right there. Why does nostalgia hit? It's because everyone has something they miss. Childhood, friendships, places, versions of themselves that don't exist anymore. The poem shows how powerful memory is and how it can be both comforting and painful at the same time. So in short, people, that is my breakdown of Nostalgia by Carol Ann Duffy. If you found this video useful, let me know what poem or text you want me to cover next with A-level English literature and language. I really hope I'm doing the right thing with these videos. Have a wonderful day and I'll see you in the next video. Take care everyone.